Hello everybody, just like to introduce myself. I'm Ricky from Connerty Meadows Farm. Some of our goats here. Anyway, today's video we are going to talk about making pine tar soap. There's lots of questions about it, how to make it, and I have done a lot of research and made this soap a number of times and kind of found some techniques that work, and I'm hoping with this video today some of these techniques might help you out in making pine tar soap. If you've never made pine tar soap before, it moves really fast. You cannot even believe how fast it'll move, so you have to be prepared. If you have never made soap before, this is not a beginner soap to make. I would suggest you get a number of soaps under your belt so you know what to expect and what to look for. So on that note, in this video, as I go through the process of making the soap, the recipe will be included. I'll include it in the links down below, but I also verbally say it on the video. And I also use milk in this soap, so if you use water or any other liquid, you need to account for that. And with pine tar soap, I highly suggest that you don't discount your water. If you are used to doing discounts, it's really not a good idea to do it with pine tar soap because it moves so fast. You need that extra liquid in there to give you some extra time. Anyway, so I hope that this video will help you all. And there's a little view of some of my goats. And I am in coveralls because we are just in early spring here in Canada. We still have some snow on the ground. But yeah, so hopefully this video helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to PM me, shoot me off a question within the group, and I'll do my best to answer for you. Thank you. Enjoy. Okay, so in this pot are my hard oils and my soft oils, except for my castor oil, which is in here, and my maple syrup that I add to help with the bubbles. So we're just gonna wait for these to melt down, and while this is melting down, I am going to get my milk out so it can thaw a little tiny bit, so when the lye crystals hit it, it will turn slushy and it won't burn. And then we'll be right back and we'll take you to the next step. So this is my goat's milk ready to go. I'll have the lye added to it. We milk our own goats here at Connerty Meadows Farm. I use the extra milk when we're weaning them, so I'm not taking milk away from the babies. This is excess milk. I freeze it into ice cube trays and then pop them out and put them into baggies into the freezer. And then I'm able to weigh out exactly how much I want. So this is sitting right now in my kitchen sink, and it'll warm up a little bit, which means when the lye hits it, there'll be a little bit of slush to help it along a little bit easier while I'm waiting for my oils to melt down. So here is the pine tar measured out. I use 20% of my recipe is pine tar. It's kind of a given that 20% is going to be more effective and more true of a pine tar soap than 1 or 2 tablespoons. So if you've never worked with pine tar, for one, it is ridiculously thick. And pine tar will cause your soap to come to trace exceedingly fast. Like, you have no idea how fast it can come to trace. Thus the reason for me doing this video, obviously, because I have found a way to make you have time to work with it and for it not to be basically soap on your spatula. So keep watching and we'll keep going through the steps. Okay, so as the oils are melting down, I'm going to go over what I use in my pine tar soap. I'm going to give you percentages, therefore you can figure out your soap mold size and decide what you want to do. So the first one we use is olive oil, and it's at 20% of the recipe. Coconut oil is 25% of the recipe. Lard is 30% of the recipe, and the lard that I use is from our pastured pigs that we have here on our property. They are pastured all summer long. They're grass-fed. They're out and about doing what they do. So their leaf lard is the whitest and the cleanest and has no smell to it. So I find that one the best to use in the soap. Pine tar is at 20% of the recipe. And the last 5% of the recipe is castor oil, which is down in here. The brown stuff in the bottom is our maple syrup. We hand collect and fire boil it just like it would have been done in pioneer times, which makes it really, really delicious. In the soap, it doesn't add any scent, it doesn't add any color. All it does is add the bubbles. So I added the first bit of lye crystals. Takes a little bit for it to start melting. As you can see, starting to melt. This is a very slow process. You don't want to rush this. You don't want to scorch your milk. So we just add a little bit at a time. If you'll notice, I am soaping with an open window. That keeps the fumes to a minimum. We slowly add a little bit of lye. You'll notice I have gloves, I have long sleeves, and I also have goggles on. And we're just going to slowly stir, and we're just going to keep adding, stirring until this is fully melted. Okay, so our oils are all melted, and now the next step is we are going to pour approximately half of these oils into another container. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just guesstimating where our halfway mark is. Then the next step is we are going to be adding the pine tar to one set of the oils, and only one set. I have not warmed this pine tar up. The oils are still fairly warm, and they're gonna help it move and be a little more fluid. So now that I have all my pine tar in, I'm just going to stir this. And as you can see, it's all melting in. There's nothing sticking to the bottom. I can feel around, and it is all very nice and fluid. My other batch of oils are sitting here waiting. Okay, so you remember we split our oil into 2 batches. This is the second batch. And now we are going to add this to our lye milk, and we are going to pour it down the shaft to make sure that we keep the bubbles out. So again, this is only the remaining half of the oil. The other half of the oil is got the pine tar in it, and it's just waiting its turn to be used. Once we get this all scraped in, then it's just a simple matter of making soap like you normally would. You're gonna bring this to a super light trace, or just emulsification. You can see this actually went a pretty thick trace in very fast order. So here is our pine tar oil, and we are going to pour this in. Again, we're going to pour down the shaft so we don't get bubbles. I'm sorry, I'm stingy with my oils. I want to get every last bit of it in there. Okay, so then we are going to mix this. You will have enough time to do a few quick pulses to get it properly all mixed together, and then we are going to pour it. Okay, we have pudding now. So I was able to pulse it a couple times and we have pudding. Pour fast, folks, pour fast.